Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're all having a great day so far today. And today I want to share with you my opinions on a minimum wage increase versus a universal basic income. A lot of politicians lately have been talking about how we need to increase our minimum wage in our country, America, up to $15 an hour and do that across the board. And then there's a candidate called Andrew Yang who wants to give everyone a universal basic income, and his amount is $1,000 per month. It doesn't have to necessarily be $1,000 per month, but that's the one that's being proposed, or the amount. So the biggest difference between the two is that a minimum wage increase affects the employers. So the employer has to pay at least $15 an hour to have an employee, whereas the universal basic income is something that is provided by the government. It's provided to everyone universally, and the minimum wage increase is only provided to people whose current wages are less than $15 per hour. And these two define characteristics of the two differences right here that I just outlined are two of the most important things. And the most important reason why I support a universal basic income over minimum wage increase is because it will actually go a long way to helping people who aren't living at the minimum wage of less than $15 an hour. I mean, just because someone's making $16 or $18 an hour doesn't mean their life is necessarily easy, doesn't mean that they wouldn't like to have more money to invest and to save, but you could say, well, they have enough money to survive, so why do we need to help supplement these people? Well, one of the biggest reasons why is because a lot of jobs could be lost soon because of automation. So just because we're entering an age where artificial intelligence and automation is going to become so prevalent that just because someone's job pays $30 an hour or $20 an hour or $40 an hour doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be secured in the future. And we can't just expect these people who've been doing these careers for a long time to go ahead and change jobs. So, especially if jobs are disappearing, what job are they going to get when the jobs aren't there to take? So, it's not just about helping people to give everyone a boost of money that aren't at the very bottom of society financially, but it's also to help secure these jobs going forward into the future. Now, the minimum wage, let's go back to that one. Some of the other issues with the minimum wage in general, and especially with increasing it by so much, is that it does not encourage apprenticeships and internships, because if someone's willing to work for someone for, like, say $5 to $7 an hour while they learn a skill, and then later they know that these skills will get them a higher paying job, you literally can't do that with this method. So if an employer cannot afford to give someone $15 an hour, they're not just gonna make the money out of somewhere. If they don't bring in $15 an hour worth of value, they're not going to hire the person. Whether you like it or not, minimum wage increases actually leads to unemployment in a lot of situations because the employer is not able to pay that amount. It's not about them being unwilling to, it's about them being unable to because the employee does not bring in at least $15 worth of value. And not just that, it needs to be more than $15 worth of value because of things like payroll expenses and other hidden costs like insurances that go with having a full-time employee. And another big issue with the minimum wage increase, especially up to such a high amount, is that it really discourages small businesses, and larger corporations that can afford this and bigger cities and stuff won't be as negatively affected as smaller businesses inside of more rural areas that will be more highly affected because they can't afford to pay their employees so much. So they're going to have to end up letting them go. The universal basic income, in comparison, gives people a boost that are at the lower income levels, similar to a minimum wage increase, but rather than forcing it onto the employer, as a responsibility for the employer to pay. It's paid for by the government. So it actually encourages more small businesses because it gives the money back into the hands of the people, and then they can go and spend it in their communities. But if those communities are being torn apart because of things like larger corporations taking jobs and smaller companies not being able to afford the larger minimum wage, that's not good, because the minimum wage is like literally bad for small businesses in rural areas. Okay, so overall, I see the minimum wage as, or at least increasing it to such a high amount, as a very bad idea. I'm not saying that it should be legal to pay people $1 or $2 an hour. I mean, there's a point where it becomes so little that it's just not feasible. So I agree that about $7 to $8 is where the minimum wage should be, and that's what it's at right now. But everyone should be receiving a universal basic income to help supplement this. And universal basic income does have its flaws, which I'll discuss in a later video, but overall I see it as a much better option than a minimum wage hike. So anyway, let me know what you guys think down below, which one you're more in support of and why you're in support of that specific one. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And until next time, peace.